Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Very excited for everybody to be here today. If you are brand new to this channel, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, obviously welcome too. Today we are going to be doing our weekly energy update, and that is for the week coming up, which is Monday the 14th of June 2021 to the 20th of June 2021. Right at the end of the week, the 20th going into the 21st sees the summer solstice. So we have a very exciting week ahead for us that we were going to find out about. And today we are going to be channeling with the goddess Diana, who is associated with moon and moon cycles, fertility, protector of women. So we will be working with her today. She's also protector of hunters, associated with crossroads, and occasionally she is, I see her quite similar sometimes to Hecate, Hecate, however you say her name. In fact, Diana is sometimes merged with Hecate and the goddess Luna as a triple deity. So the crone, the maiden going into the crone. So she is a very powerful goddess. So she will be working with us. And with all the moon cycles that we've had recently, all the very intense new moons and full moons, thought she would be a great goddess to work with. So as usual, we do have 3 piles. Now, I decided to pull out the soul cards too here and put these images, one image on each pile. And underneath we have a couple of tarot cards and I believe one oracle card here, and then we have some other information of oracle cards on the side here. So just want you to just take a deep breath in and hold for a second. And as always, the more relaxed and the more aligned you are with yourself and your own reasoning and your own heart, the more aligned you will be with these readings. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video, please take as much time as you need. Of course, all the timestamps will be down below as always. So really just want you to go with the energy of the piles. Obviously, we do have a very specific image on each one. So whatever resonates with you, that will be your pile. Pile 1, third eye coming in, Kundalini energy, something birthing in pile 2. And then we have the illumination card of the aha moment, moving into new wisdom, pile 3. But whatever this energy around each pile, or whatever the reasoning is behind each picture, however it informs you, is the way that you should listen. Always listen to your own intuition. So I'm going to take a moment, give you a moment here to see which pile is yours, and then I will remove pile 2 and 3, and we will be doing pile 1's reading. Okay. So pile 1, if you chose this third eye here, this is, I'm going to give you a proper look. Beautiful cards here. So if you chose pile 1, this is your weekly energy update for the week of Monday the 14th of June to the 20th of June, and we are working with the goddess Diana. And if you have been with me before, we have the magic candle dressed with magic oil for extra activation and healing for you too. So use that any way that you need throughout this reading. So let's get right into your reading. I'm going to put that aside for you here. So we're working with the goddess cards, and then we have the work with your light oracle here. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn these over. So we have the 7 of Swords for you, and then we have the 2 of Swords for you, and we have Mirror. Who or what is triggering you? So the upcoming week for you, pile 3, is about really getting behind or figuring out or refiguring how you work with energy, what energy you're pulling up for yourself, what energy you're bringing into your own space, whether it's yours or not. There is the message of, leave that, put that down for you. The idea that you need to have the world on your shoulders will be coming up and highlighted for you today. The one thing that, keep getting for you as a message, when something upsets you, or you get that sort of icky feeling in your tummy, that sort of negativity, you're really being asked to sit with it for a second and ask if it's internal or if it's external. And now, we people always say, as beloved, as above, so below. And obviously, we are told time and time again that our interior feelings are mirroring the external, and vice versa. We create our own reality, we create our own being, and we do understand that. But you're going to be cutting to the truth of that this week, and really figuring out. Now, also, we want to sort of relay a little, or pull apart some of that myth, insofar as whatever it is that you feel, it's a mirror, and this, that, and the other. Absolutely, it can be what is triggering you. But sometimes there is other things that are just going on that's just beyond what's going on. And sometimes it's just not a matter of, having to work it out within your psyche. We're told everything, everything we need to pull apart, and this, that, and the other. You're being asked this week, what really does need to be pulled apart, or do you just need to leave it at the door? If something is triggering you, it could just be that you have too much on your shoulders. You're not being asked to take on that energy, and learn when to let it go. Learn when to let it all go. There's a part of you that is, the empathic, really sensitive, beautiful side that wants everybody to be okay, that wants to take the world on their shoulders, and wants to take on some of the beautiful heartache of the world. And what you can do is, because you're an original alchemist, uh, you can do this. You can take on a lot of pain, Pile One, and you can transform it. And this is something that you do. And it's not necessarily an easy process for you. It's been a learning curve for you. However, it's something that you are able to do. Everybody has their own unique gifts. Not everybody can do that to what you do, to the level of what you're doing. But you're being asked this week, do you need to do this now? Do you need to be on the front lines, doing this alchemy constantly for others? You're being asked to take a step back this week. And obviously, if something does trigger you, there might be a message in there. Absolutely, welcome to, explore, see where it's coming from, see where the root of it. Absolutely, but sometimes, and particularly for this week, you're being asked to see whether you need to take on this energy, or if it's just energy that you need to, again, just leave at the door. We're asking to remind you also that if you don't, quote unquote, take care of things, things will still work out. This understanding that you have to be on absolutely everything, not necessarily in a controlled way, and not because you don't necessarily trust other people. It's just that you're used to ultra independent. You're used to doing things yourself. You're used to taking care of things yourself. And in the past, when you've reached out, you're expecting people to meet you halfway. They haven't always done it. So you're used to picking up the slack. So, but for collective energy, you're also used to picking up the slack for the world, for everything, really, and it's just a lot. But because you're used to transmuting this energy, you do feel that it's draining you. In one way, physically, you can feel if you're taking on too much, if you're physically exhausted, if your mind's exhausted and your mind's running on empty, and so far it's just looping round, kind of a hamster in a wheel. That's one way of doing it. And then a complete exhaustion of your body. Now, if you have two in tandem, both of them coming together, you've got the wheel in the head, and you've got you've got the exhaustion, then you know that you're taking on too much energy. It doesn't need to be transmuted through you anymore. We're coming into sort of a new version of things, where what you were doing before was absolutely wonderful, but it's not necessary to be sort of at nature's edge now, taking on all of that energy. You're being asked to use that energy that you were transmuting before for yourself to recover. It's very easy for empaths to burn out. It's very easy for channelers to burn out. It's very easy for alchemists to burn out if they don't balance. So this will be your week of balance. Learning when to pick things up, learning when to put things down. And also, you might be the peacemaker either in your family or in your group of friends. This could be just for some of you. If you're the one that people are used to coming to, and she said this and he said that and they said this and they said that, and you're used to sort of calming everybody down and negotiating for other people, we want to remind you that that's very worthy and absolutely beautiful for you. But this might be the week that you want to stay away from any kind of drama and really focus on yourself. There's a lot of truths coming in for you this week, coming in to especially the end part of the week, as soon as you move past the midweek and come into Thursday and Friday, because we have the summer solstice coming in right at the end of the week, the 20th. Right at the beginning of the new week, the 21st afterwards. So there's a lot of stuff coming in, and also regaining your power coming back. It might mean that you might need to cut cords with how you've been doing everything in the collective. Again, we want to remind you everything's going to be okay if you do not take everything on your own shoulders. It was appreciated for when you did do this, but you're being asked to step away, not having to be on guard as much anymore. It's almost like a lot of you are looking over your shoulder. What's the next thing I need to do? What's the next thing? The next thing you need to do is look after your own energy. So let's see what we have for you for this week. And again, this is not a passive week for you. This is a week of looking within for yourself. This is a week of putting your own energy first. This is also a very powerful week for you to realize, because you are very powerful, and when you do get involved, things do happen. You are an immense catalyst in every situation that you touch. So, and you're not coming from the ego at all, because in your blueprint, deep down that you're supposed to do this this alchemist work. So, but we want to remind you that if you put your energy first and say, hey, you guys are going to be able to work this out, you give them some good energy and you walk away, it will be resolved. So we want you to know that as you go through this week, it's okay to say no, and know that everything will still be okay. You have this incredible sense of loyalty to whatever it is that you do and whoever it is that you're around. But we want you to gather that loyalty for yourself this week. Put your energy first. There's a lot of aha moments coming in for you, a lot of fusing your own wisdom, and we want you to be clear, have a clear path for all that wisdom coming in for you. You've got the entire world on your shoulders trying to transmute that energy. It might not be as powerful as a week personally for you as it could be. And we want to remind you that the more that you work on yourself, it sounds cheesy, but it's absolutely true. The more you can put this out to the test, the more you work on yourself, the more your energy, your frequency is lighter, and it will be when you're not taking on so much and you're not so exhausted one way or another. Then everything around you lightens up too. So we want to remind you that if you take that energy for yourself, you will be doing much more good than you think you will be doing by actively getting involved one way or another, or taking on that collective energy. So let's see what we have for you too. Music, yes, relax, go be you. And nature. So escaping into your own world this week. Nature, music, but not just nature, obviously getting outside. Everybody knows connecting with nature, all of that. But it's also a reminder that we are nature, we are source. And really connecting with that essence of you, reminding yourself that you're not working with source, you are source, you are stardust. When you're not necessarily out in nature, your nature connecting with nature. So coming back to that understanding of yourself, and it's sometimes that can be difficult. We can separate from that a little bit when we're taking on so much. We take on the caretaker role, and then we forget that we have needs. We also forget that we are part of exactly what it is that we're trying to save and trying to transmute. So getting back into those sort of directorial, like really basic aspects of who you are, what you already know, but working with them in a tangible way, bringing in that music that you used to listen to before, bringing up those old memories, not in a way to sort of go down the rabbit hole and, and what happened here and there, not that, but just reminiscent, beautiful energy this week. Because you are moving into a new facet of self. So it's good to celebrate where we've been. It's good to see where we've been and what we've been through. And this will be a great week for you to do that. So we encourage you to do that at all times. Take as much time as you need this week, as much as as much as you're able. We understand that, people have real commitments. They have jobs, they have kids, they have all sorts, but if there's any way to put yourself first or gather some of that energy for yourself, however you can, we ask that you do. So let's see what we have here with the wisdom of the Avalon cards for you. Earth Fairy, physical health, grounding and foundations, and communication. Absolutely. Coming back to communication, Earth Fairy, getting that grounding and that foundation back for you, and also your physical health will start to shift to, if some of you are having ailments with grounding, lower chakra stuff, anything to do with digestion. Obviously, this is not anything to do with a physician. Please look after yourself and do what you need to do and get the right kind of help. We're here on this beautiful earth plane to be able to have both spiritual and medical help. And, I always think an influx of both of them is the perfect harmony in this lifetime. So, you don't want to always, you don't want to be too spiritual about stuff and then sort of block your healing, so you always just want to be open to whatever it is that we have here on the earthly plane to be able to make use of. So, but for those of you who are having a little inkling here and there, once you get your energy back into balance, that should sort of shift for you. Getting that firm foundation coming back to yourself. Communication too, it will be very important for you to learn how to say no and to mean it. And sometimes you don't have to do it face to face with the person, but even if you are good friends or you have a good rapport with people around you, there still might be instances where they've relied on you in a certain way and you don't want to do that anymore. So it's okay to put your foot down and say, I would love to meet. I would love to do that, but I'm not doing this. Very often people seek you out for who you are and your traits and your beauty, and that's wonderful. And you've always felt of use there. But sometimes you need to put your energy first and say, if this is why we're meeting, I would appreciate if, I have faith in you. I know you're going to do well. I'm going to take this evening and do this for me. So don't forget to put your energy first in every way, shape or form. And this is also an excellent time for you this week. If you really allow that time to ruminate and all of that energy that you have for yourself, you are going to have a shift, these aha moments that are coming in for you, this new form of wisdom that's coming in as you create this new foundation, this grounded foundation, this new plateau from you to work from. This is a springboard for you to work from. That it's been starting already. This is just a culmination moving forward in this week, but it's about getting your energy back, knowing where you stand, understanding when somebody else's energy starts and you end, communication, saying no, not taking on too much, because sometimes you take on too much energy. Even social media, things like that, can be toxic for you. Sometimes when you feel overwhelmed and you've got all this negativity, turn it off and cleanse and get back into that grounding. Because you can move into a room and you can take on absolutely everybody's energy. So, if you ground into your own energy and put that first, you can walk into that room and take on everybody else's energy and then not pull it in. You'll be able to release it. So this is a new way to work with energy, but you're going to have to put your foot down and really sort of stand for yourself and your energy first this week. Now, this is something that you may have been working on or working through. This is probably not new for you if you're resonating with this pile one. So we're just asking you to be really vigilant with it this week as we move into this very powerful summer solstice at the end of the week. So let's see here. We've got the chakra love Let's see what's coming up for you for chakra love. Any messages here? So this one's coming in. Shine, solar plexus chakra. You are made of stardust, so keep sparkling. Absolutely. And as a reminder, as we said before, shine, solar plexus. Getting into that energy of I am, this is my space, and reminding you that you, as we said before, you are stardust. That's exactly what we said before. You are stardust. You are sovereign. You are source. You're not working with source. You are source. You are nature. Getting back to that energy. And if you have to this week, just so you solidify that beautiful foundation, feel free to go ahead and protect it. I'm not doing that this week. This week is for me. I'm doing this. The payoff will be immense, especially as you get to the latter part of the week, coming into the summer solstice, because that's where you're going to feel your power grounded right into that foundation of yours. And again, you'll be able to help many more people on a completely different level if you move in this direction. So we hope this resonated with you, Pal One. Have an amazing week. Big shout out. That sounds weird, putting it that way. Well, I started, so I'll finish, right? Big shout out to our beautiful goddess Diana for this channeling. We are sending you so much support for exactly where you are right now, exactly who you are. Do not change. You are perfect. Sending you so much love this week. Go be you. Stay safe and sane until we meet again. Take care, Pal One. Bye-bye. Okay, my beautiful Pal Twos, if you chose this is your weekly energy update with the goddess Diana. We are starting with Monday, the 14th of June, 2021 to the 20th of June, coming into the 20th, 21st, the summer solstice. Let's not forget that we have the magic candle, just with magic oil that you can use for activation and healing, an extra vavum level to this reading. So if you chose the birthing card, or however it is that you interpreted this card, completely and totally up to you, then this is your reading. We will start off with the Goddess Tarot, and we have, what do we have? We have the Work Your Light Oracle 2, and then we will move on to other oracle cards. Let's see what we have for you. Don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So this is sort of perfect for this too, birthing, coming out, coming from the dark to the light. Let's see what we have here. We have the Ace of Cups. It is reversed, and then we have the Three of Swords, which is also reversed. Very interesting. So this is about reclaiming your energy in a really profound way this week, Pal 2, which is something that you've been working on. So this, if this is resonating, this should not be a surprise to you, but this is a very active week for you to be able to take your power back. Sort of in the same way a little bit as Pal 1, but very different energy and different circumstances. But taking your power back and really understanding at its core. Now, you know, we throw around these sayings that it's you know, we create our own reality, and you know, and all of this other stuff that we say, but we create our own reality, and everything's about the insular, right? Whatever is on the outside is triggering us, and this, that, and the other. And you know, we can go into this at a larger thing, because some of it's correct and I think some of it is, you know, hocus pocus. But regardless of that, for you, it is very much about figuring out this week and really understanding yourself and understanding that you are a creator of your own reality and actually testing the universe this week. This is about not holding back anymore, and the ways in which you can stand out. And there are very specific ways that you can stand out this week. And also, this is a very important week for you to really understand that everything that you've been through is behind you completely. You really have reached sort of a new plateau, whereby now we totally understand that sometimes when you go through a situation, and something seems to be going right. Some of you are sort of Debbie doubters. I don't know if you say that in this country, but Debbie doubters, a little bit doubting, wondering when the shoe's going to drop. Now, there was a reason for that too, and there was a sort of tangible reason for it. It's because you've gone through so many laps and loops of everything that you're supposed to go through and learn. So there's been sort of several different kinds of people and situations that you've been through, and each one of them has been sort of similar to the next. So it's been very difficult for you to accept at times that certain cycles are completely finished, because when you think you've finished and you've gotten through something else comes up, and it's got a remnants of whatever's happened before. Now, each and every circumstance that you went through, there was more information for you to pull in and deliver and assimilate, of course. So every single situation you wanted to go through, or every single situation that you put yourself through, had new information for you, and it was important to go through it. But it's important to know, and you've felt this recently. Again, if you're resonating with this is something you should already know. Mainly all good tarot readings are pretty much telling you what you already know. That's it. But this is about the week where you absolutely realize, sort of without a shadow of a doubt, like who you are, and that what you've been through is sort of, that's past. You can, you can call it a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, however many phases that you've had in this lifetime. You're going to be many different people. When you've looked back 10 months ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, completely different person. But this week you'll be able to look back on your life. You'll be able to look back in a very significant way, because you've changed. The way that you look, the way that you hold yourself, your aura, your energy has changed. It's shifted. And that's because you've come out of something recently where you're able to look back and see it completely in your past. You're not waiting for the other shoe to drop anymore. These are absolute brand new beginnings. Now, what we want to encourage you to do this week is that, sometimes there's a looping in your brain when things start going well, and it's your practical mind, it's your ego is trying to protect you. Totally understand. Well, let's prepare for the worst just in case. Let's do this just in case. We want to remind you to keep your mind positive, not in this real sort of woo-woo way. Just keep yourself positive and don't let in the negative. Everything will be fine. Nothing like that. That's rubbish. We all know that. We learn from the darkness just as much as we learn from the light. And not everything that's hidden within is parts of ourselves that are too dark, too dark to be deemed sort of, something that we how do I say this? Some parts of us that we get nervous about going in and shining light on, because they, we've repressed them, and we see them as darkness. We don't want to see where, what it is, and we don't want to deal with it. It could be hard, it could be tough. But some things that we hide and we repress are just aspects of ourselves, just parts of ourselves that we didn't know existed. So we could have a talent, for instance, that's sort of deeply hidden, and without that light, without really going through that darkness and figuring out that darkness. Not everything in the darkness is really dark that we need to pull into the light. It's not all shadow parts of ourselves. Some parts that are in the shadows are actually latent talents and things that we need to bring up. And this is what you're going to be working with this week. You're going to be working a little bit in the darkness, but in a very exciting way. You're going to be pulling up and really sort of highlighting these aspects of yourself and integrating them and accepting them at a level. So this is going to be a full week for you. And of course we have the birthing, which makes sense now. And this is, so we're going to turn this up, because at the end of the week, this is what you are going to be working toward, filling up that cup and just accepting all of those parts of yourself that, the talents that maybe you didn't have time for because you were in survival mode. There are things that are going to be coming up for you this week. So to tie it in with what we originally said, we want you to make sure to keep the loop in your mind positive when the old stuff starts coming up. Because remember, it does take a little while to rewire our brain. Now, when we tell our brain something, our brain is very basic. It believes it. So if you sat there and told yourself you were having a heart attack for an hour and you absolutely believed it, your body would follow. It wouldn't actually do it. You would just have a panic attack, and that's awful. Obviously, don't do that. But the mind is very powerful. That's what we're saying. So obviously, don't do any of that. Do the opposite. So we want you to concentrate on how powerful and positive your mind is this week. So if it goes off in any different direction that's sort of a little bit more negative, because it wants to protect you in any way, we want to remind you to keep that loop on the positive this week, and just gently say to yourself, that is the past. We've really come through that now. We've gotten everything that we need to. That's absolutely fine. We're not going back there anymore. We've learned our lessons. We're on a new path now. Remind your brain, remind your ego, remind your mind as it comes up. We're on a new path now. We're on a new path now. We don't need to do this anymore. We don't need a backup. And that's what your mind tells you. All right, if it doesn't work out, we don't want you to be disappointed, sweetheart. So we want to have a backup, right? We want to have a backup so you won't be so disappointed. You don't need that backup. You're going to go for exactly what you want, and you're going to get it. Now, it might look different to what you thought it would look like, but that's the way life is. It's going to be bigger and better. We want you to concentrate on the positive going forward. So when you look back, you're looking back and saying goodbye to that past of you. And remind yourself how powerful your mind is. You don't need to go to that negative anymore. For those of you who were really exhausted by how negative your mind can go in that loop, and you know how powerful your mind is, but now you're at a new plateau. You're in a position to pull it up and not go in that negative loop anymore. So this will be a week for you to really highlight, not pulling up sort of the depths of the darkness, what's in there, and doing all that shadow work. Not against shadow work at all. Obviously, if one wants to heal, one is at some point going to do shadow work, but there's different ways of doing shadow work. But we're not suggesting that you do that this week. But there might be some light shined into the darkness this week to highlight some of these talents that are coming up. Now, most of these talents you already know that you have, but you will be able to take them to the new heights this week. Because you have sort of this freedom, more light shined on, you're integrating, you're accepting all aspects of yourself. So this is a very exciting week to play around with your magic. Very exciting week to be grounded in your own magic, birth anew, but also remember you're reprogramming your mind this week. Things will go not exactly as I want them to, because that's the way that you can trick your mind. Everything is working out in my favor. Everything is working out in my favor. Everything is working out in my favor. And trusting that. So if your mind starts going in that negative loop and all it's trying to do is protect you, so you don't need to fight it, you just need to thank it. We're done with that now. You know, we've outgrown that. We don't need to do this anymore. We're just going to focus on the good stuff. And then just let it go, release. Whatever comes in is going to be better for you, bigger and better than you could ever imagine. We're not suggesting that you don't have an avid imagination. You certainly do, pal, too. You really, really do. But at the same time, you know, you're only getting into this understanding of how huge and vast you are and how huge and vast your magic is. This is going to be the week where you click into it. So whatever it is that you're asking from the universe, we guarantee you that you could ask for more and absolutely get it. So get ready, make the room, and release into this alignment where the universe has no choice but to deliver what it is that you want, and probably, most likely, much better than what you've asked for. So this is a real week for alignment for you, coming in at the end of the week too, moving into the summer solstice. Very powerful time for you. None of this should be a surprise for you if you're already resonating with this reading, because you've already been working on this for maybe even a couple of months. Some of you even 6 months, but especially in the last 6 weeks and coming in for the last couple of weeks. So none of this should surprise you. But this is the week where you get to say, this is me, and celebrate you. That's what we said to Pile 1, celebrate you. You should do that every week anyway. Perseverance, always celebrate you. And synchronicity, absolutely. Everything that you've been through is going to pay off in one way or another this week. So hold on, keep in that positive loop as you move forward. There's just no need for the negative loop anymore. There's no need for that backup. Your backup is, you don't need a backup. You're going for exactly what you want. You're going to get it. So it's just everything that you've been through to create sort of this life that you want is available for you now to reach out and get it. And, these synchronicities, don't be Don't be worried about testing the universe or moving forward in your path in a very specific manner. You're not being asked to do this alone. You're going to be very much in the eye of the universe this week as you move forward. So these synchronicities, again, as you move past Wednesday, going into the latter part of the week, coming into the summer solstice energy, you definitely will be feeling that magic, those synchronicities, those sort of strange sort of happenings that happen that seem slightly otherworldly, that happen in our life, but happen when we're totally aligned. And they kind of happen out of nowhere. And if you would plan them yourself, you never would have believed that they would come off. So there's some inklings of that coming in for you. And it's not just this week. It's going to be moving past this week and into the future too. You're also working with the energy of the new moon that just came in, depending on when you click on this video, but on this reading, but probably soon, seeing it's a reading for the week. So whatever energy that you put forward in for the new moon that just came in will also give you another little vavum, another little information about what to expect this week. So I'm going to link that down below to the previous, I don't know if it was the previous one or the penultimate one, whichever one. It was fairly recent, but I'm going to link it down below, the new moon energy, because that's 2 weeks prior and it's still in and around that reading. You might be able to get a little extra support, a little extra information with that reading. Again, always listen to your intuition to see if that's something that you're interested in. And if not, all good. High Priestess, yes. And the Cat, independent, healthy boundaries. This is the latter part of the week coming in. The High Priestess, discernment, prescience, prophecy, and vision. And the number 2, which is the sign of, you've got 4 here too. So you've got community coming in too. So family coming in too. And you've also got personal relationships, love relationships coming in too. So working with this energy, staying positive. You've got this High Priestess, ultra independent, very sort of beautiful, again, using your magic and keeping it grounded in the positive, aligning with the universe at the end of the week coming into the independent, the healthy boundaries, the Cat, also the Cat with healthy magic, beautiful magic coming in. They were familiars to a lot of, regardless of whether you're into witchcraft or not, it's really irrelevant. But initially, like familiars are known sort of in the modern community as, well, it depends on who you speak to, but sometimes they're just seen as, the friend of the witch and this, that, and the other. But actually, familiars back in the day really were seen as somebody who could shapeshift or could work magic. With the entity of the witch, work with the witch, work spell work, and they were very active in that. So this is you sort of morphing into your own energy, having that really firm boundary of your own magic and moving into this own version of you, which again is brand new. So please celebrate the old and do leave that behind this week. Resist the urge of all measures, resist the urge this week to go backwards, fall into old patterns of negative thinking, which are really easy once you loop, for everyone, once you loop in there. And once we allow ourselves to go in there, it can be difficult to come back, swing back into the positive. But if you do, that's fine. Just accept where you are and know that this too shall pass. Don't get angry with yourself about going back. Remember, you're just aligning with this new energy and pulling it into this real foundation for you. As you move forward, you will get much better at this. And once you start working with the synchronicities, you will start realizing that there's no way that you can go back at all into the past. So keep your head up this week. Celebrate you. This one fell out. Peace, crown chakra, and stillness. The answer will be revealed. Absolutely. And you've got that crown chakra to remind yourself, even though, yes, you are getting grounded into your own energy and the foundation of that, but also work with your guides, work with the universe to allow in that energy to come in for support, for those synchronicities. It's okay to test the universe. They're used to it. Test the universe, get out there, test your magic, do what you need to do, but keep yourself positive this week. So this is what we have for you this week. Pile 2, we sincerely hope we resonated and gave you a little bit of support. And again, leave that new moon reading down below if you want to click on that for a little extra verbum for you. So we are sending so much positivity, and we are sending so much support for exactly who you are and where you are right now. Do not change. You are perfect. And we are saying take care for this week. Really, really enjoy your power and your beauty. You deserve to. Remember to celebrate you absolutely this week and every week. Stay safe and sane, Pile 2. Until we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, Pile 3, if you chose the Illumination card, this is yours. Again, we are working with the goddess Diana, and we are doing a weekly energy update from Monday, the 14th of June, to the 20th of June, which comes in the 20th, 21st, 21st, coming into the summer solstice. Very, very powerful week. And of course, we have our, let's get that on camera. We have our healing candle to use for activation and healing throughout this reading too, any way that you want. So we're starting off with the goddess cards, and we also have a card from the deck Working with Your Light, and then we have various different oracle cards on the side. So let's get into your reading. So you have Temptation here, and then you have the Seven of Pentacles here, Illumination. Then you have Break the Chain, Ancestral Patterns, Healing, Rewriting the Future. So as always, even though we are working and channeling our beautiful goddess Diana, we're also working with collective energy at the time of each reading. And I always say this, there's always a thread between piles 1, 2, and 3. There just is. Always very different energy, different messages. So it is worth picking one over the other, or, you know, for some of you, I know that you actually listen to all of them and choose which pile you listen to first. So you do you. But I'm not surprised, because this is about breaking chains. This is about coming into not a new version of yourself, but this is about really putting your foot down. This is something that you've been working on. This is not something that's just going to come up suddenly at the beginning of this week. And this is something that's been a theme for you, putting your foot down, accepting aspects of yourself, integrating yourself, and actually stepping up and saying, I want a different way to be in the world. And understanding absolutely that you have the power to do it. Everybody says, you know, it's well known in the spiritual community, we create our own realities. And yet the same people who keep saying it are creating absolute crazy things, you know. So they go off and, you know, create, you know, fear-based societies, or, you know, see things from a fear point of view. So that is proof right there that when we say we create our own realities, people say it constantly, but they don't understand the fundamentals of it, that not just yet, it's a little bit beyond them one way or another, that you really do create your own reality. You absolutely do. Whatever you focus on, whatever you pull into your reality is your reality, and everything shifts in and around that energy. This is something that you're going to fundamentally understand this week, and you're going to put your foot down. You're going to say, I'm not doing this anymore. Now, again, this is something that you're coming into, and this is something that has stopped you in the past, insofar as that it stopped you realizing your worth, stopped you realizing how brilliant and how magical you are, because you get in this loop of understanding, you know, to a degree, that you create your own reality, and then getting caught up in other people's sort of version of reality, and then it sort of knocks out your own, and before you know it, you're sort of drifting down this river sort of aimlessly, and you don't know how to get back to shore. If that sounds familiar, then this is something that you're going to be breaking this week, and it is going to take you to put down your foot and say, no, I'm not taking on this reality. Now, we want to be really clear for you, for those who are like feeling just a little bit lost. Now, not be for all of you in pile 3. Not all of you are feeling completely lost, but for those of you who are feeling a little bit lost this week about what path to go down, or we don't want you to get carried away with any of that. just choose the path of least resistance. Just choose the path that is in. We don't want to be woo woo about this, but we just want to, just realistic. Choose the path of love. Choose the path of acceptance. Choose the path of unity. Leave anything behind that comes from the ego, that's anything to do with separatism, it's anything to do with any kind of fear based, anything that where anyone or anything is saying there's only one way to do things, there's only one reality. We want you to be open to all realities this week and choose the reality that you want. Choose the world that you want to live in. Now, this does not mean that, you're sticking your head in the sand and saying, this isn't going on, this isn't going on, this isn't going on. You can be fully aware of everything that's going on in and around you and still remain in your own space in love and keep that frequency high. And that's the way that you're going to be the best for yourself and the best for the world too. So this is breaking the chain of taking too much on. You've got very similar energy to Pile 1. For those of you who are feeling you might want to go back to Pile 1. It could be a little extra information for you or not. Always listen to your intuition. But yeah, this is an interesting, Pile 3 and Pile 1, both of you would get on very well and really understand where each of you are coming from and be each other's allies and each other's support. So it's definitely a matter of choosing what you want. And also understanding that with your openness, which is absolutely gorgeous, you let in so many different points of view. And while that is all wonderful, every single point of view is worthy because it creates a sort of textured universe and nothing's boring. And everybody has the right to, this is a free will zone, Earth. Everybody has the right to think whatever they want. And also to think sort of, not poorly, but to think sort of negatively and go down that road because we don't know what they're going to learn from that path. We can't say that that's the wrong way for them to learn. That's, some people learn from fear. Some people learn from taking in fear. We have no idea what that particular journey is going to be. So we have no right personally to say, that's the wrong way to do things. That's not the right way. But for you this week, we want you to concentrate because you are used to going down the fear road. You've studied fear, fear from the inside out. We want you to actually stand your ground this week and sort of clear out the fear and clear out the energy of fear in and around you with energy that you take in and sort of old energy. There's old energy that's been coming up from 2020. There's trauma energy coming up. There's wounds that are coming up, individual and also collective wounds from a society that's crumbling. There's a lot of things that are going on. On the surface, it seems very chaotic. And in that reality, it absolutely is chaotic. But we want you to come out of the chaos this week and really see how far we've come. As we've said with Pile 1 and Pile 2, we want you to celebrate how far you've come. And this is a long time coming, but we want you to take active movement now to really break those chains of the past and choose unity for yourself and choose love for yourself. Now, not in this sort of woo-woo way, I'm going to love everybody no matter what. We want you to have really firm boundaries about what you're going to take in and what you're not going to take in. So we don't want you to do all that love everywhere. Yeah, just be who you, absolutely, be who you are, but be it over there. I don't need that energy. So, again, have those boundaries. It's very important for you as being an empath and with your sensitivities, have those boundaries, use those boundaries this week to really sort of forge a place for you this week, to put down your 2 feet into this, your reality that you're creating from the inside out. And we want you to let go of not the relationship that you've had with fear. We couldn't ask you to do that, but we want you to let go of the idea that you won't be rewarded handsomely for everything that is you. For some of you, and these are always general readings, so take what resonates, but for some of you, this is an important message. You do believe that you're talented. You've worked on that talent. You know who you are. But there's still a little inkling of you that if you embrace everything and you move forward, that there's not a way that you can earn the kind of money that you want doing exactly what it is that you want. Now, there's a part of you that does believe that. And there's just, again, a little inkling, sort of remnants left over. So if that sounds familiar to you, we want you to spend the week, however you do it in your own personal way, to clear that out. That's just a sort of projection that you've taken in and integrated, but it's not integrated fully because you didn't really believe it. But it was an impression that left an impression within you. So we want you to be very, very clear with this illumination this week. Part of what's going to be driving you to really have this firm foundation, this clear foundation, this boundary. I'm not doing it this way anymore. I'm not working with fear in this way anymore. It doesn't serve me. It only serves me to a certain point. I've done everything I can with fear. I've worked with it so much. I've got to graduate from fear now. So taking you out of that and really clearing that space for you, saying whatever it is that I embrace fully, if I do it with my heart, I have enough wisdom, I have enough love, I have enough knowledge to be able to take it to the level that I want to be taking it at, and I have enough knowledge to be able to pull in the income and live the way that I want to without any compromises. So this is what we want you to concentrate on this week. Moving all that other extra energy out, although that doubting energy out, and really sit with this understanding that you absolutely can move forward and have the life that you want without any compromises. That's not to say that we don't want you to be flexible. It's got to look like this and that's it. No, obviously that's not what we're saying. If anything, once you release and align with whatever it is that you want, whatever actually comes back and integrates into your life, will probably look far better than anything that you could have asked for. But we do want you to realize that everything that you want, you are capable of getting without a shadow of a doubt. And some of that might start that catalyst coming in. Now we still are in Mercury in retrograde. So, in this retrograde period, not everything, some of it's like molasses. We can get a ton of ideas, actually, ironically, in Mercury in retrograde, but the minute we try to act on them, it can get a little muddy. So it's not necessarily the time for action per se, but it is time for movement. Clearing out, being cognizant of all these new ideas coming in. This is a very specific and powerful time for you to clear out everything that's stopping you moving forward. And again, that new relationship with fear, it's almost like, see this vision of you saying, thank you, fear, for everything you've done for me. It was a great motivator for you. And you worked with fear in a way that most people wouldn't. So you understand it from the inside out. You know what it does. You understand what it does. So it's almost like you're thanking it for what it did, and you're putting it in this beautiful gold box, and it's almost, I keep thinking, a book box, which is kind of an interesting sort of allegory, because that's supposedly a demon in a box. I think it's Hebrew. But anyway, for some reason I was just being shown that. But keeping the fear in the box and locking it, in the debug box, I think they lock it with the seal of wax. So locking it and putting it somewhere safe. And it's not that you're hiding it away. You're thanking fear for what it did, but now you're putting it in its place, and it just needs to go somewhere right now. At a later time, you'll integrate it, and you'll absolutely do that. But for right now, you just need to be able to think where you are. You need to be able to have that room to break those chains. And once you have that firm foundation, you'll be able to integrate fear and work with it completely differently. But the way in which you've worked with fear, you've worked with it so intimately that it can overwhelm you. Sometimes you've got to put your foot down and say, I don't need you right now. I don't need you right now. You've done everything you can. The time again will come to integrate it, absolutely. But right now, put down your feet and say, no, not this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing fear anymore. It only gets you a certain place. Fear will tell you all sorts of things. It wants to protect you. It doesn't want to disappoint you. It's there for you. And it really believes that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And trust me, when the fear comes up, if you're in a flight or fight situation, when you actually need that fear to motivate you, it will be there. It will absolutely be there in that time. But we only need it 1 or 2% of those times. We don't need it the 98%. So you're going to put it down and say, we're not doing it this week. And you've got to be really firm. And later on, you'll be able to integrate that. And once you start integrating to that fear, you'll be working with fear in a completely different way, in a revolutionary way, actually, in your own sort of terms. Something that later on, or even now, because you're all on different timelines, you'll be able to teach others how to do it. So let's see what else we have for you. So yeah, we have this illuminating week for you. Not a passive week by any stretch of the imagination here. So let's see what we have for you here. So we have environment and we have forgiveness. Okay, so you know, it goes without saying that when you celebrate yourself this week that we want, please forgive yourself for everything that you've been through. For some of you, you can be very hard on yourself. We want to remind you that the way in which you speak to yourself as you're working with fear is just as important. You know, would you speak to a friend? Would you speak to a colleague? Would you speak to somebody who came to you and said, I'm going through this? You are the sweetest person in the world. You would be the first person to say, now let's not be so hard on ourselves, and you know, let's be good to you. So we want to remind you, if you start going into those circles of being quite hard on yourself, you know, bring yourself back to center. How would I treat somebody? How would I speak to somebody if it wasn't me? If it was somebody external to me, would I really speak to them like that? You wouldn't. So don't speak to yourself like that. Treat yourself with kid gloves this week. It'll be really important that you give yourself a wide berth. What you're doing here is something really, really big. You're restructuring the way you work with fear, restructuring the way that you work with energy. This is not something this is a long time coming, but this is not something that's going to be mastered in a week necessarily, but we're not asking you to master. We're just asking you to set down those ground rules, and once you do that, it'll become a lot easier, and then you will float into this and integrate that fear before you know it. So give yourself that space and time this week. You're not going to get everything brand new. Gentleness, diplomacy, absolutely. That was that just flew out of the way. It didn't fly out, but it did turn over. Okay, so you have 3 here. Those are ones for you. 2 comes out at the same time. So you have communication. I believe that came up with pile 2. Let's move this over. Communication. And you have the Grail Knight. Romance, illusion, seeking the sacred. Absolutely. So the illusion again is coming back to creating your own reality from the inside. Something that you want, and really understanding that you are in control of the reality, the energy that you bring in. Again, communicate with yourself lightly. Diplomacy, gentleness. When you start going into that harshness, remind yourself, how would I speak to somebody external to me? If a friend came, was being really hard on themselves, you would listen, you would give wisdom, or you would just bear witness. Sometimes people don't want advice, they just want to be heard. You would do that for them. You would give them the space, but you wouldn't let them talk to themselves like that. You wouldn't agree with them. Oh, I'm the worst person in the world. Yes, you really are. You really are. You know, you wouldn't say that. I mean, if in certain situations you'd be like, yeah, you effed up. You totally did. But you can make it better, and you're not a bad person. But yeah, you effed up. You're going to take responsibility for it. That's cool. That's the worst that you would say to somebody. You know, so again, treat yourself as you would treat other people. Be gentle with yourself. Have that communication, and come back into that sort of seeking the sacred, and really understanding you can have the life that you want. And you're taking these direct steps in order to do it. You're definitely a daydreamer, romantic, daydreamer. You can get lost in your thoughts with illusion, and really sort of playing with illusion, really playing with different forms of reality. So really in your heart of hearts, you really understand, pile 3, that reality can be shifted, can be changed. You know this. I mean, some of you are creative, some of you are writers. I mean, you actually create worlds. This is what you know. So start creating the world for yourself that you want this week. As it moves past Wednesday and Thursday and coming into the latter part of the week, we are going to be moving into the summer solstice. This is a very, very powerful time. Also, as I mentioned in pile 2, the new moon energy, anything that came up for the new moon for you, if you have not watched that reading, I will link it down below. It's usually a 2-week cycle, so we're still under the influence of the new moon a little bit. So if your intuition, always listen to your intuition. If your intuition tells you, if you haven't already, to check out that new moon reading, you might be able to get a little bit more information, a little bit more insight, some activation, some more support. So check that out if you want to. So we also have, finally, we have Chakra Love here. These cards, we're going to end with one of these. Let's see what one last message we can get for you. This one's calling your name. So we have Destiny, third eye chakra. Here we have the illumination up here. Follow your instincts. They lead to the truth. Absolutely. Follow your instincts, and your instincts are best served when they are not free from fear necessarily, because we don't have to be completely free from it. You know, you can be nervous about something and still do it. That's totally fine. But this understanding that you're free from your past, you're free to really compute and understand and create your own destiny, and follow your heart. When your heart and your intuition tells you to do something, and it's not moving from any kind of ego or any need to control, then you have those baby steps to move forward. So just stay in that third eye chakra, stay close to your magic. Always seeking the sacred. For those of you who are feeling a little bit lost about the tangible steps to take, stay with your intuition and stay, as we said with pile 2, you know, ask the universe to take you on a path that's loving, that's full of unity, that's full of graciousness and acceptance, and not fearful or manipulative or separatist in any way. And that way you can stay open, stay flexible, but just move in the direction of unity, of beauty, of love. And again, we do want to remind you, as we did with pile 2, is not this sort of woo-woo love. Yeah, everybody's great, everybody has their own version of things, and everybody should be accepted without any judgment. We get that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have boundaries. You have every right to say, you be you, that's all good, but it's a bit batshit for me. I'm going to say no, not for me. Thank you, bye-bye. Have those boundaries while you're working on yourself. Do not be afraid to use those boundaries. Even if you're not doing it face to face, you can say no to the energy. Unplug from social media, unplug from negativity, unplug from agendas, unplug from, you know, people pushing agendas that are just one way of doing things. That's fine. Again, we have no idea how this is going to play out for them. That is their journey. That's what they need to do. So there's no judgment here. It's all good, but it doesn't need to be good for you. Whatever doesn't work for you, you can accept that that's what they believe, but we urge you to really come into your own energy this week and do not have any qualms whatsoever about putting down those boundaries and saying, no, I'm not going into that energy, because once you take in that energy, it can stay and it can be icky. And this is what we don't want for you. Just because you don't believe it, and you can be very firm, and I don't believe it, but that icky energy is coming in. It's insidious. The energy of fear, the obsession with paranoia and being governed and all of that stuff. We want to remind you without a shadow of a doubt, and this goes for all piles and everyone everywhere, you are a sovereign being. You are not just the universe. You are not just part of the universe. You are the universe. You are a sovereign being. You are protected. There are a myriad of different ways that you can take your life, and it's all up to you to take your life in any direction that you want. There is not one way of doing anything. So stay open, stay flexible, stay in unity, and just, you know, just really be careful of your boundaries this week, because we want you to not be influenced by any kind of negativity where, you know, you can sit there and say, oh yeah, no, I totally understand. I'm not really taking on that energy, but that energy seeps in there, and before you know it, you're being hard on yourself a couple of hours later. Well, that energy turns into something else and whatever. We want you to make sure that you're that you're forgiving yourself, that you're in celebration for who you are, and you're keeping your outer connections really strong in unity and love. So seek out that energy this week. We're not asking you to shut out the world. If you can, that'd be great now, right? Wouldn't we want to do that? We're not asking you to shut out the world, but we're asking you to be under a certain amount of protection while you build your sense of self up. And once you're in this world of knowing and really completely understanding and having that sort of seeking the sacred and working with that synchronicity that's going to come in with the universe, once you're in that full alignment, then these energies will just sort of dissipate in and around you. But we want, while you're breaking the chain, we just want you to be aware of that. So if you need to come off of social media, or if there's certain people that you just, just for this week, they want to hang out, but you know what, I'm just not going to do that this week. I'll hang out with them another time. Do whatever you need to do to protect your energy. Put yourself first this week, and really get into the understanding of how beautiful you are. We want you coming out of this week, if possible, understanding completely in every cell of your body that this world is beautiful and it's gorgeous in every shade of the word. We want you to understand that on every level. Even the chaos of it is beautiful. And we want you to be able to see that and integrate it from the light-filled side rather than the fearful side. And then you'll be able to integrate all of it on all levels. Again, we want to be very clear that whatever anybody else believes, it's completely up to them. It's not about he or she or they. They're right, we're wrong. This, none of it. We're just one small aspect of the universe, and yet we're everything. So just let everybody play out the way that they want to. It's just you don't need to be involved in that energy. That's it. So this is for you, not a passive week, a really beautiful week for you to come in and play with that beautiful imagination and romance that you have. Some of you are coming into that romance and having that energy around you too. So play with that creativity, play with that inner child, play with that beauty, play with that fairy energy, and really pull in the energy of your destiny. Get excited for everything that's coming to you and into your life, because you absolutely deserve everything, because you've been working tirelessly to move forward in this direction. So this is exactly where you should be, exactly where you need to be, and we are sending you so much love and beauty this week. We are also sending you support exactly where you are, exactly who you are in this moment. Do not change. You are loved for exactly who you are, completely whole in this moment. And we are sending everything that you need this week to you. We want to thank our beautiful goddess Diana for these channeled messages, and do click in for next week too. If you have not subscribed already, we would love to have you. If you feel as though this is where you want to be, we would love to have you. And until we meet again, Pile 3, you stay safe and sane, and have a beautiful week and a beautiful summer solstice. Take care. Bye-bye.